Look, right now, modern game design is being completely ruined by two very toxic extremes. On one side, you've got the yellow paint problem. Developers hand-holding you on where to go. They slap neon paint on every single legend crate, basically treating players like toddlers. But on the exact opposite side, you've got the purists. These are the games so obsessed with hardcore, no hand-holding realism that actually playing them feels like office work. Here's the deal for you. If you're making a game right now or even just blocking out a level and you fall into either of these traps, players are going to drop your game. Period. They rather feel insulted because you treat them like a baby, or they'll get frustrated and quit. But today we are going to fix that. We are going to see the exact playbook the best studios use to completely avoid both of these mistakes. By the end of this video, you're going to learn the secret to invisible guidance, how to lead your players perfectly without them ever realizing you're doing it, so that your game actually feels amazing to play. Let's get into it. So first off, how do we fix the paint problem? Like, how do we tell a player go here without literally painting an arrow on the floor? To begin with, let's look at the masters. Wall, specifically Half-Life 2 episode 2. We all know the game, we all loved it, right? There's a famous story about the bridge jump you might remember. Basically, there's a part where you have to drive a muscle car across a huge broken bridge. It's supposed to be this epic action movie moment, but when Wall playtested it, nobody did it. Players saw the huge gap, got scared and just drove down the safe path on the side of a cliff. It completely killed the vibe of the whole level. Now, what would a lazy developer do in this situation? They would have maybe, painted the ramp yellow or put a big flashing sign that says jump here. But what did Valve do? It did something completely different. It did something smarter. They didn't change the UI. They changed the world. They went into the level, piled up a bunch of junk on the safe path so you literally couldn't drive there. Then they tilted the ramp up just a tiny bit. Just enough so that when you're driving, your brain goes, oh, that's the only way forward. And it worked. Players hit the gas, jumped the bridge and felt like geniuses. They had no idea the developers quietly forced them to do it. That right there, that's the difference between painting a level and designing one. But that's an old school linear game, right? You can block paths easily. What happens when you build a massive open world where the players can go anywhere? This is where Ghost of Tsushima comes in. Honestly, Sucker Punch, the devs, they had the same exact problem. They have this beautiful, realistic world and they did not want to ruin it with a cluttered mini-map or giant floating arrow. So what did they do? They used the wind. You swipe on the controller and the wind literally blows in the direction you need to go. It's genius, right? Because it's still technically a giant arrow. It's doing the exact same thing as the yellow paint. But because it fits the world, because it's part of the samurai fantasy, it feels immersive. And they didn't stop there. You see a yellow bird in the game? Follow it. It leads to a secret. You see a fox in the game, follow it, it leads to a shrine. It's all yellow paint logic, but it's invisible. It respects the player enough to say, hey, look at the world, not the minimap. So that's how you guide a player properly, but now we gotta flip the coin. We need to talk about the trap developers fall into when they run away from the yellow paint, the realism trap. Because a lot of players say, well, if you don't want to paint, why don't you just make it realistic? Make it like real life. And there are many examples for this. Look, for example, RDR2. Don't get me wrong, it's a masterpiece. I love the game. But man, it has a problem. Let's talk about the looting in the game. In most games, you walk to a table, you press a button and bam, you have the ammo instant, right? In Red Dead, no. You walk up. You hold the button, Arthur reaches out, he opens the drawer, he sees the can of beans, he picks it up, he looks at it, he puts it in a satchel, and then he closes the drawer. It takes like 5 seconds. And sure, the first time you see it, you're like, wow, look at all these graphics. I mean, look at the physics. The game is so realistic, like real life. But what about the 500th time? You're just sitting there waiting to play the game. This is what I call bad realism. It prioritizes the animation over player's time. It turns the game into work. And honestly, I don't think realism is worth it if it makes the game boring. I mean, we're all playing for the fun, right? And then there's the final boss of bad realism. The game that are so realistic, they forget to tell you how to play. For example, take games like Escape from Tarkov. Now, don't get me wrong, Tarkov is intense. People love it. But there's this fear defense in the community where if you complain about not knowing where to go, people just say, get good, it's hardcore, you need to learn how to play the game. But think about it. If I have to buy a second monitor, open a wiki page and stare at a map made by a fan just to find the exit in your game, is that hardcore or is that just bad communication? Like, obscurity isn't the same thing as depth. Challenging me to shoot straight, that's good design. Challenging me to guess which random door door is the exit because you didn't put a sign up. I mean, that's just failure to teach the player. So yeah, relying on a wiki isn't a feature, it's a bug. Many developers confuse this. Okay, enough complaining. We have bashed the pain, we have bashed the realism. But if you're actually making a game today, let's do something to fix this so that we don't repeat the same problems, right? Here is your cheat sheet. These are the 4 things you can literally check in your project right now to make it better. Number 1, the squint test. Turn off your UI. Seriously, hide the HUD. Now squint your eyes at your level. Can you tell where the main path is by just the lighting? If you can't, don't add paint yet. Try adding a spotlight, a flickering lamp, or just make the textures bright on the path. Use light to guide the player. Number 2, the diegetic challenge. Look at your HUD. Can you take just one thing off the screen and put it in the game world? Maybe put the ammo count on the gun itself, or show health by how the character is limping. You know, the less UI you have, the more immersed the player is because the player is looking at the game all the time. It's in the game world, right? Number 3, the loop audit. Find the things player do the most, like opening doors, looting chests, reloading. If you have to do it 1,000 times, make it fast, like really fast. Respect the time. See, realism is cool. I mean, we all love it. But flow, that's the champion. That's much better. Number 4, kill the wiki. If your playtesters keep asking, what does this item do? Where do I go next? Put the answer in the game. Put it in a node, a dialogue line, a signpost. Don't make them all tab to Google it. Keep them in your world so the players live in your world. So look, at the end of the day, making a great game is really about just being an invisible hand. You know exactly how to guide the player naturally, so they feel super smart. And honestly, if you just apply these lighting tricks and world cues to your project today, you're gonna avoid a ton of bad reviews, drop your playtester confusion to 0, and see way higher player retention. So if you're out there building games, want to design better experience without all the guesswork, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much for hanging on today. Go make something awesome, and I'll catch you later. Take care.